All right, and welcome back to another episode of League of Superfans Falcons Talk with Sam from the League of Superfans. Sam, how's it going today, buddy?
Hey, it's going good, man. Any chance I get to talk about my Falcons, it's a good day. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. End of the season, always craving more football, so it's a great time of year.
Yep. It's that time when, yeah, right? Everybody's got hope, no matter how good you are. Obviously we haven't made the playoffs in forever, but hey, I still got hope right now. It's all good.
That's right. All right, well, with that, we're going to be getting into the Falcons' future, whether it's trending up or down, who's the quarterback of the future for the Falcons, and your top free agent targets this offseason. That being said, we'll get right into it. Sam, the Falcons' future, Terry Fontenot, Arthur Smith, are these guys on the hot seat, or are they trending up or down? What do you think?
You know what, man? I know that we've had the past 2 years at 7-10, but in the last 5 years, we haven't even been above 500. Honestly, it's hard to be going anywhere but up from rock bottom. So I definitely say that the Falcons' future is trending up. Like you said, Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith, they're heading into year three after 2 years of 7-10. But I mean, the hard part, on judging them with that is that they've had no cap space. They've had no ability to bring in new targets. They've been shedding a lot of dead space. We had a 77.54 dead cap last year, highest in league history. And just like you got right there, now we got 56.5 million to spend this year. So there's definitely some ways that can go up too. Marcus Mariota, 12 million, going to get added on right there. That's a definite cut. But we got money, and so these guys, it's their first chance to really put together their team, and I'm excited to see what happens with it.
Yeah, at the moment, that's what the second most cap space in the league at this point.
Yeah, behind the Bears, they got like 103 or something crazy like that, and then Giants are in third, but pretty far behind. It is a lot of money. This is the most money that Arthur Blank has had since he owned the team in 2003. Like that, there's a lot to be had here in terms of excitement. There's a big class coming up for free agency in some positions that we need. Obviously, we'll get into that in a minute. And honestly, the biggest thing with this too is the division is wide open. The NFC South, I mean, everybody knows they were terrible last year. Nobody above 500, as you can see right there on the metric. Tampa won at 8-9, but nobody's got an established quarterback right now, unless you really want to call Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton established. Not anymore. Tom Brady is gone. Thank God. But nobody is in a good space except for Atlanta. Carolina, they've got a good roster. They're 7.7 million below the cap or over the cap right now, and they hold the ninth overall pick. But Tampa and New Orleans both are at negative 55 million, and they're picking in the bottom half of the draft. It honestly, it seems like Atlanta, they've got probably the best position to be in this team, and there's no reason why we can't win this league or win this division next year. I think that's the minimum expectation for this group, or they will find themselves on the hot seat going into next year. But I mean, once you get in, anything can happen. You've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, the division's not great. You can see the records. You guys finished tied for second, basically, and tied for last.
Yeah,
But you guys scored the most points in that division last year, even with the Tom Brady on the Buccaneers. But you also
yeah,
gave up the most points. So look,
right, right.
if good comes to
Well,
bad.
we had the least amount of money spent out of any team on the defense. Everybody's seen it. It's putrid. We got to step it up. That's for sure.
All right. Well, who's the quarterback of the future, Sam? There's talks about Lamar coming down to Atlanta. What do you think about that?
Hard pass on Lamar. Listen, I get it. He's an MVP talent, and we don't have a quarterback, and we got a lot of money, so it makes sense for everybody to connect the dots. Whether that's freaking somebody on Schefter or whoever Rappaport, or if it's Lamar's agent trying to angle for more money. Although I think he's representing himself this offseason. But it's going to take 3 firsts to pry him away from the Ravens. And I mean, that somebody's saying that he could be had for 2, but come on, Deshaun Watson just got 3, and obviously he doesn't have any Watson's baggage. And then the big thing on top of that is he wants all of his money guaranteed. And you look at what kind of quarterback he is, don't get me wrong, he's electric, he's dynamic. Lamar in 2019 was absolutely freaking amazing, but are his best days behind him? Has he already taken too many hits? He's getting banged up. He won't go with his team to the playoffs. A lot of questions. I'm out. We spent all this time, just buried under dead cap money, just like I was just talking about there. And then you're going to mortgage yourself right back into it. You're not going to have the first round picks to build a team to put talent around him. And I mean, look what he did with a baller defense on the Ravens. That he's going to come to our team and play any better? No, we're going to win the division with him, but we're not going to go anywhere in the postseason. If it's my plan, I want to bring in Ritter. We already got Ritter here. He's playing on a third round rookie deal. He played 4 games. The first one was pretty terrible. Second one got better. Third one even better than that. And the fourth game, he actually looked really good. So if you look at his season stats, they don't like blow you off the stage. And 4 games isn't enough to evaluate him anyway. But yeah, see, look right there. His completion percentage is 63.5%. But I believe in his fourth game, he was throwing 73%. Like there's a big difference and a big jump in what he did from the first half of the New Orleans game, where he just looked absolutely out of his depth, to the finale against Tampa Bay, where he was scoring touchdowns and he looked productive. But no interceptions. He was good with the ball. He made some good sound decision making. I think you stick with him. You bring in a QB2, somebody experienced like a Brissett, Minshew, Tannehill, Mayfield, whatever. Somebody that if Ritter falls flat on his face, it's not the end of the world. You can get somebody who's going to be able to hold the ship afloat and possibly take the roster that you've built, hopefully with all that cap money, and still be able to make the postseason.
All right. Yeah, I like your offense is good. You got Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier.
Yeah.
Algier looked good at the end of the year last year. He ran for 1,000 yards. So,
Yep.
with those weapons, even with Lamar, I mean, not saying you're going to go for Lamar, but those guys probably have a good, pretty good season with Lamar. But like you said, you got to trade up, trade
Yeah.
3 first-round picks and pay the guy, and he's hurt every year. So I don't think he can do that.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I take Ritter, take the cheap money. I mean, no quarterback in history has won a Super Bowl taking up more than 12% of the cap. And I mean, this was Mahomes last year being under 12%. We'll see if that statistics holds true. But I mean, the formula since the new rookie wage scale came out in 2012 has either been a guy making next to nothing or Tom Brady. And so like you have to be able to build the team around him, and handing out a super deal right away to a team that is definitely not a quarterback away. It just makes no sense to me. And I mean, there's a chance that Ritter could be the guy. I know that third and fourth round picks, other than Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, have not really worked out, but you never know.
All right, Sam, while free agency's on the horizon, what direction you think Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith need to go in?
All right. So I briefly touched on that QB2. That's got to happen for sure. But we're going to talk defense first and foremost here. We just hired Ryan Nielsen as a defensive line coach for the Saints, and defensive line is what they're chatting all over the place. Arthur Smith was an offensive line player and coach before he was a tight end coach. These guys are talking about how games are won and lost in the trenches. Interior defensive line is my number one beyond everything. You got to make a difference maker. Put him right next to Grady Jarrett. Let them wreak havoc. He's been getting double teamed his whole career. So Daron Payne right off the rip there. He's the best one in the class for sure. It's a deep class though. Onyemata is a former Saints connection. Draymond Jones, somebody that I like, is a little bit more in the middle. Still young, but I mean, I'm looking at Daron Payne, $19.4 million projected per spot track. That's a little rich for my blood, If you can get him a little better, that'd be great. Cordero Patterson already reached out to him trying to get him on the team. We'll see what happens if he wants to come and play with us. But a guy like Jones or Onyemata would be a solid piece to put next to Grady Jarrett. You got to start building this interior defense. Best pressure way to pressure the quarterback is up the middle. And statistic about that, we had 21 sacks in 22, last in the NFL. 68 sacks over the last 3 seasons. That's less than the Eagles got just this year. That's freaking wild, man. You need to,
That's bad.
yeah. You need to go after the trenches. It's going to be interior defensive line, and I'm going to follow this one right up with edge. Some of the top guys on the market: Yannick Ngakoue right there, Zach Allen on the Cardinals, young piece that would be really good. Dwayne Smoot, still young too, on the Jags. He kind of got overshadowed a little bit by Josh Allen and Arden Key over there, but I really think that he'd be a great piece for us too. A little more affordable than Yannick. They've got Dwayne Smoot, spot track at 13, Yannick at 14, and Zach Allen at 6.3. Obviously he doesn't quite have the history of production that these guys do, but honestly, out of this group, I'd be willing to swing for the fences with taking Yannick. He's had 5 teams over 7 years, and he's never had a season below 8 sacks. To me, that's a guy you bring in that's automatic. Besides Vic Beasley's one good year that he had in 2016, I mean, we haven't had a guy that's been an 8-sack guy since John Abraham in like 2012. It's ridiculous. We got to turn the tide here. We need help in free agency. We also need to come in the draft, even if we are landing a guy in each one of these groups. I mean, there's a major change coming, and I think we got the right guys in house to do it. Third position I want to talk about is a wide receiver 2. Like you said, we got London, we got Pitts. That's awesome. Pitts really is kind of a wide receiver 1 anyway, but we need another guy opposite them to help kind of take off the pressure. He also should be a burner. Arthur Smith really likes tall, big-bodied guys, but you need somebody to take the top off of the defense and run great routes. DJ Chark is my personal pick. Another great one, Juju and Mecole Hardman, both from the Chiefs. Hardman doesn't have that big body that Smith likes, but he has the speed and spades. And with having Pitts at 6'6", London at 6'4", probably bring back Michael Pruitt at 6'5". You have the big bodies if you want to get a speed burner that can kind of bring a new dynamic into your offense.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's you got, it seems like there's a lot of guys at all those position groups this year. You've got a lot of flexibility. So
yeah,
one guy signs
oh
on another
yeah.
team.
I mean,
you still have a couple other people out there you could sign.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 3 guys from each group. I mean, I didn't even talk about D-line being the top 1. I think the top guy even above Daron Payne, if you can overlook his age, production-wise, is Javon Hargrave. We didn't even talk about him. I mean, there are tons of guys out there. This is a deep, deep class at all 3 of these positions. It's also deep in the draft. I mean, there's a lot of other things that have to happen. Don't get me wrong. Atlanta needs a safety. They need half a defense, really, to be honest. I know that since we've been putting this together, yesterday Jesse Bates, his agent, put out a video of him at the bar with Kyle Pitts, AJ Terrell, and Casey Hayward. And so, Atlanta's players are working hard to try and bring in some guys. I love it. I think that there's a lot that's looking up. Atlanta has historically been a place that people just remember for stuff like 28-3 and, just like one of the NFL's like jokes of a franchise. But it really seems like with Smith and Fontenot, the culture is changing, things are turning around, and they're on their way to building a year-to-year contender. And trust me, I've been long suffering. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think you're in the right division to do so. There's a lot of change on the other teams. You guys have your guys set in place for, they've been there for a couple seasons. So, things should be looking up for you guys for sure. But
Absolutely.
yeah, look for more in the future from Sam talking Falcons, and be on the lookout for the Ultimate Superfan Challenge, Free Agent Frenzy. is actually currently running. Um, I believe the deadline to get your forms in is either 2 or 3 days prior to the legal tampering period, which I believe is
Yep,
March 15th or March 12th.
that's correct.
Um,
So March 12th is the deadline.
yeah, so be on the lookout for that, and definitely check out Sam and what he's got coming out in the future with the Falcons.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Joe.
All right, Sam. We'll see you next time.